Hey everyone, this is Mark Medina here, and I'm playing a brand new upcoming mode for The Division 2 called Descent. First off, I adored The Division 2 when it first released back in 2019, but like every live service game I play, I have a tendency to drop in and out as my interest shifts. So, due to my lack of dedication to one game, when new content drops, I usually assume I'm either under-leveled or under-geared. Well, for Descent, I won't have to worry about that. Descent is a new Rogue-Lite mode for The Division 2. When starting, the player enters a combat simulator, stripping them of their gear and upgrades, meaning it doesn't matter what you have in the outside world. In Descent, we're all equal. The reason for this is, as I mentioned, it's a roguelite, so all progression is tied to that single run that you're currently in. I'm not allowed to show it right now, but once the simulation is booted up, you and your squad will select one of 3 random starting weapons and a random starting skill. After that, the run will begin by choosing your first room. You'll make your choice based on the rewards or difficulty you're looking to take on. Rooms have easy, medium, or hard difficulty levels, and you'll be rewarded with a set amount of bespoke Descent currency based on the difficulty you chose. But beyond difficulty, each room will offer up one of 3 talents for you to acquire or upgrade. Talents are where the roguelite nature really starts to take hold. The talents are divided into 3 categories: offensive, defensive, and utility. So based on the build you're trying to make, you'll want to select a room that will reward you with a talent in a category you're looking to improve. Talents come in all shapes and sizes, with the offensive buffs usually resulting in increased weapon damage, defensive buffs improving your armor and survivability, and utility buffs improving things like weapon handling or skill damage. At first, you'll be able to equip 3 talents in each category, but as you progress, you can increase your talent slots. But don't worry, you won't always be acquiring new talents. Oftentimes, you'll just be ranking up your existing ones. When I first jumped in, I needed Descent to do 2 things for me. First off, as a fan of the gameplay, I needed Descent to feel familiar and to be a fun extension of the core game. Like in the base Division 2, you'll be making your way through combat arenas and taking on loads of enemies of all shapes and sizes. You'll be challenged to use new weapons and skills during each playthrough, and because of this, each run feels different, but it still feels like the Division 2. Overall, it's pretty enjoyable. I was able to play over a whole weekend at my leisure, and being able to just boot the game up and jump into a run before leaving to do an errand is a freedom a lot of live service games don't really offer. Aside from that, on a rare night when I'm able to get my friend group together, I can see us spending the evening seeing how far we can get in Descent, free from the shackles of caring if someone in the group is at a higher level than the rest of us, has a much higher gear score, or is just in a different spot in the story. Second, since the draw here is that it's a roguelite, I needed it to capture that one more run mentality you get from playing these types of games. Luckily, it does that to a certain extent. Every time I died, I felt the urge to jump back in to see what sort of weapon I'd get next, and what sort of talents I'd be offered along the way to see what crazy build I was able to set up next. Setting fire traps for unsuspecting enemies never gets old, and unlocking a weapon ability that allowed my gun to never have to reload and upgrading my armor several ranks made me feel like an unstoppable tank. And after clearing enough rooms, you'll be up against a high value target, and defeating them will sometimes reward you with an exotic talent, and ends that current run, sending you back to the start to spend the points you earned on upgrades like increasing your ammo clip size, the number of armor packs you carry, the number of talents you can equip, and as well as additional guns. The main drawback between Descent and other roguelites I've played is once the run is over, whether you quit playing or you die, nothing carries over. So every time you start a new round of Descent, you're starting from absolute scratch, which is kind of a bummer. I'd actually like to see a version where you're able to make permanent upgrades, like unlocking more powerful weapons that have a chance to appear in your starting arsenal, or better talents, which is akin to something you'd see in something like Dead Cells or Hades. Still, if you're looking for a simple way to jump back into the Division 2, either solo or with a match-made group, Descent does have some fun to offer. Between not having to worry about my gear level or progression, Descent is a hassle-free way to enjoy the stellar combat system that the Division 2 has to offer. I just can't say for how long, however. While being given the chance to make meaningful, long-lasting changes to your Descent character would somewhat betray the drop-in, drop-out nature of this mode, having no real progression does mean that you're just playing until you get bored, which I imagine won't take incredibly long. But still, it's worth a look if you've been itching to jump back into The Division 2. For more on Descent, I'm going to let the gameplay play out a bit longer without me talking over it so you can get a feel for how this mode plays. For more on Division 2, check out everything that was announced on Division Day. And of course, for everything else video games, stick with IGN.
Hostile construction initiated. Console online. Supply. Constructing hostile combatant.
Neutralizing all targets.
Available. Entering new room. Difficulty rating. High value target. Hostiles constructing. Hostiles spawn from highlighted doors.